Hey guys, welcome back to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we're back with an AP Varus supplementary again. And we haven't really gone through Varus' main build yet, but we're going for the AP variant first. Because in this match, we need a little bit of AP, so we went for the AP Varus. And of course, as you guys can tell from the title, we got a pentakill, so we're definitely going to show the gameplay for it. And we're going to go through, of course, the build, runes, and spells right now. So first up, we're going to start off with an AD portion of the build, and then we're going to transition into AP. Which will then, of course, basically make the whole build AP because, of course, Nash's Tooth will convert into an AP item. Now, in my opinion, this is the best way to build AP Varus. Now, you could skip the Terminus and you could go for, like, AP Boots, but I really don't think it's that good because with that build, you kind of need, like, 2 to 3 full items to one-shot people, and you really are kind of useless before that, and you really need to hit your ult. But with this build, you have a good mix of actual AP damage to burst them down, as well as, of course, some AD damage for your arrows, as well as just to get through the early stages of the game, and just some general auto attack damage in the late stages of the game as well. So I think this is just the best way to build AP Varus, essentially. So we're going to start off with the Gluttonous Greaves, an AD item, which gives you 35 AD, but it does give you 7% Omnivamp, which will, of course, help with your AP later on as well, because it's Omnivamp. Then we're going to start with the Nash's Tooth, which gives you 45% attack speed, 20 ability haste, as well as the on-hit magic damage, which of course scales with both AD and AP, which is great for this build. And at the beginning, it's going to give you 30 AD because you have an AD item here, but you will eventually, of course, get to AP. So now, next item we're going to get is Terminus. So Terminus is going to give you 40 AD, 30% attack speed, and of course even more on-hit damage with the 35 magic damage. And of course, the important part here is going to give you not only the resistances, but it's going to give you the pen. Now, this is where it gets really important, so pay attention to this part. So it's going to give you 33% total magic pen, because of course it stacks up to 3 times. Now, if you guys remember, Void Staff was removed as an item, so you can't get like the 40% magic pen from the item anymore. And each magic damage item now gives you 7% magic pen. So with the Terminus, you're going to get 33, and then with the next item, Riftmaker, you're going to go up to 40%, which is the maximum because Terminus is capped at 40% resistance for both magic as well as for physical. So you're going to get 40% MR, which is basically kind of getting like a old Void Staff, essentially. And this is why Terminus is really good. It gives you the amazing amount of magic pen, and not just that, but of course it also just gives you really good stats like attack speed and on-hit damage. So next up we're going to get the Riftmaker, which is going to give you of course all the good stats, but most importantly more Omnivamp as well as the Void Corruption passive. Now take note here is we have actually 35 AD from here and 40 AD from here, which is of course going to be a total of 75 AD. So when you complete Riftmaker and get 90 AP, you're going to convert the Nash's Tooth into an AP item, and it's going to give you 60 AP here. So this is where the build turns into AP. Of course, you still got 2 AD sources for some nice auto attack damage and some nice Q damage as well. And then of course, with any AP build, we're going to go for Death Cap next, which is going to boost our AP by even more. But of course, you do incur the health penalty. And for your last item, you have a couple options. So first up, you have Light Infinity Orb, just for insane amounts of burst damage for one-shot kind of potential. You also have, of course, Horizon Focus, which of course in this case is going to give you the extra damage when you hit someone from far away, which with Varus is pretty much always going to be the case. And you also have a defensive option, which is Crown, of course, as usual, which you can always go for if you really need the defensive option. And that's pretty much it for the items. So now for the runes, you want to go for Lethal Tempo, because as I said, another way you can play this is just auto attacking, because you do have Gluttonous Greaves, Nash's Tooth, and Terminus, so your auto attacks are really, really strong, so you will stack them up across the team fight, which you will see later on when I get the pentakill. So Lethal Tempo is still really, really good to just attack quickly, and of course since you attack a lot, Brutal is great, Giant Slayer is always good, and of course more attack speed with the Alacrity. And I like to go for safety with the Bone Plating, but of course you can go for Hex Splash as well. And finally for the spells, you go for Flash together with Ghost, because you do auto attack a lot. Of course, you can also go for your Exhaust if you need it for that particular match. But with all that said, let's now move on to talking about the gameplay. Okay, so now into our gameplay we go. So as you guys can see in this particular match, we don't quite have a lot of AP, which is really the main time you want to pick an AP ADC, like, you know, Varus, Kaisa, you know, a lot of options, Corki, etc. We have a full AD top side, and we do have a Morgana, which is AP focused, but of course Morgana doesn't really do so much AP damage until she reaches quite a number of items, which is kind of just the nature of Morgana. Managed to pick the enemy ward up as a team. But yeah, so against a Caitlyn as well as a Seraphine, pretty aggressive early game lane, because if we get caught by Seraphine, Caitlyn's gonna, put us in a world of hurt. But at the same time, we do have a Morgana, so if Morgana gets a catch herself, could be, really good for us as well. We could also deal a lot of damage to them in this instance. However, of course, we are against the Caitlyn, so it is a pretty rough matchup. Varus is a decent early game champion, and doesn't really care too much about who his support is. Like, if you have an Enchanter, that's fine. If you have an Engager, also fine. Doesn't really care too much. Of course, he can chain CC his ult with someone else who has chain CC, so that works out quite well if that does happen. Here we're actually running down the Caitlyn a little bit, but we are taking a lot of damage because the minions decide to start aggroing us, which of course does happen normally. So we do end up taking a pretty even trade, all things considered. We did trade health evenly, and we did trade barrier for ghost. So overall, pretty even trade. We'll take it. But honestly, the trade could have been better if we just didn't chase Caitlyn, because we would have won the health trade there. So we probably shouldn't have done what we did. But anyways, we're gonna continue on to lane. And this early game honestly is not very exciting, and this game in general is not very exciting until we get to the point when we get the pentakill. Mostly because let's not spoil it actually. Let's wait and see why that exactly is the case. But basically I'm left doing a lot of just cleanup duty, not in a good way, as in not in the sense of getting kills, but more so in the sense of just cleaning up waves and stuff. So here we have a gank coming in from Vi, and Morgana is able to pick up the kill using the W. Here I did try to go for the Q flash combo, but not quite able to pick up the kill with that. So we did kind of quote-unquote waste our flash, considering that Morgana could have gotten the kill anyway, so we didn't really need to flash there. Not really the best early game for us, but at the same time it's not going bad either. A little bit of blunders here and there from myself, but we're not dying or anything like that. In fact, we do have a goal lead against the Caitlyn, so nothing to be too upset about. We're definitely in a okay kind of spot. So here, honestly, not too much to really talk about. We're just, basic lane, just clearing waves and, just kind of trying to trade while we can and stuff. And of course, this match, we do have quite a nice team in a sense that we do have Garen for frontline, we do have Vi for a setup, to just land CC for us, and also we have Morgana's Black Shield to try to protect us from CC. And, Yasuo could get a good knockup as well, which we could use to, of course, deal damage. So pretty solid team comp overall. Here Seraphine is sitting in the bush but doesn't know she's on vision. Actually doesn't get caught actually by Morgana Q. Pretty close one. Morgana Q of course travels incredibly slowly, so really difficult to catch someone at maximum range. So here Morgana is now the one getting caught. Does catch the Caitlyn though. I land an ulti all in now. Barrier comes in. Seraphine ulti goes wide on me but does hit Morgana. Nice root by Morgana onto the Seraphine, but I'm not quite close enough to follow up. Caitlyn is a full stack lethal tempo now, so a little bit dangerous. Morgana with another beautiful root onto Caitlyn. I'm able to follow up this time with the arrow that came off cooldown, and we are able to pick up a kill. Very well played by the Morgana there, to land like basically 3 bindings in a row. But honestly, the Caitlyn barrier plus Seraphine shield are just a little bit too much shielding for me to really deal with. And I'm not really able to take out Caitlyn with the ulti combo, which normally would pick up kills quite often in lane. But in this case, it takes a lot of extra effort to get kills here just because of how much shielding they really have in the lane. Some anti-shielding would be really good this game, but honestly, aside from those two, Yone does have a shield, but Teemo and Pantheon don't really have a shield, so maybe not the highest value game for anti-shielding. And of course, going for AP Varus, you can't really just spec into a Serpent's Fang. That'll mess up your build by quite a bit, honestly, unless you really, really, really need that shielding. Then you probably wouldn't want to build AP anyway. So now we definitely got the advantage in lane. We're 1k gold up on the Caitlyn, and Morgana is almost 1k go up on Seraphine as well, so we're definitely in a more dominant position in the lane. Honestly, at this point, we've already kind of won the lane, because if Caitlyn doesn't get a hit in the early game, she basically lost already. So she even steps out, we catch her with a very nice root as well. Seraphine has to flash the Morgana root, especially because she's at full stacks on the Varus W passive, so would have taken a bunch of damage when my Q came off cooldown, and if she got caught by the root, that would have been certain death. Here Morgana tries to get a kill on her own while I'm busy taking the fruit, but ends up having to blow her flash for it. Kind of close though, because she did land a root. Ends up dying for it because Pantheon aims his spear at Morgana instead of me, as he should, and takes out the Morgana without too much trouble. And now it's quite obvious based on the pathing that the enemy team is going on to the Ice Dragon. Obviously I can't really do anything to contest the dragon, so instead what I'm going to do is take advantage of this time to quickly push out the next wave. And Vi is just in mid lane, not really even trading objectives here, so I'm just going to quickly push out the wave, and then I'm going to just recall, while the enemy team is going to have to deal with the wave that I just pushed in. So of course we do ward to check if Pantheon's coming in for the dive, so obviously we do spot him out, but not too much is going to come of it. Morgana does land a root on him though, so he does know that we have vision there. And here we have picked up our Nash's Tooth, which is our first item. Of course, it's going to be an AD item at the beginning of the game, which I think is more useful because you do get more arrow damage, and you also get just more auto attack damage in general. And here we're just back to the lane. Herald is still completely uncontested. Vi is not interested in objectives whatsoever. And our mid lane is kind of getting destroyed. We have a 1 in 6 Yasuo in 6 minutes, so it is kind of rough. Our team is not doing too hot in the slightest. Here I'm trying to go in onto the onto the Caitlyn, but she does QSS instead. And here we're trying to go onto the Caitlyn again. She gets caught, but I get caught as well, and I end up dying to a Caitlyn Q. Again, the barrier comes in clutch to save her. Honestly, we don't really play against barrier ADCs very often, because most ADCs go for a ghost or exhaust, so it's kind of rare to play against a barrier ADC. And I didn't really take that into account a lot of these fights, which causes me to lose a lot of these fights. So we do give over a kill to Caitlyn, which is of course not good news at all. And here Morgana's just trying to hold them off, you know, while they're trying to push in, and they don't actually take a reset. So here, I do have quite a big item advantage against them, and of course Caitlyn now has her QSS on cooldown, so if she gets caught, she's gonna be in actual trouble this time. We do hit a pretty nice arrow onto them, but we do spot Teemo coming in from the side because we did catch him really briefly on the sweeper, so I'm pinging Morgana back, and thankfully Morgana does end up going back just after a second, so Teemo doesn't end up actually getting any kills or anything like that. However, we do know he could still be in the area, so we're not going to, you know, play too aggressively or anything like that. And here we don't really have anything to buy, which is why we're not actually backing here, because this is a pretty good reset window, but we really don't have anything to purchase. So we're just going to wait for the next wave instead. Now with the next wave here, we're just going to quickly clear it up. And Seraphine, we can see her in the river, but nothing too much is going to come of it. And as I said, it's a pretty boring match, like nothing too much has really happened so far. Do have a few kind of fights and skirmishes, but again, not too interesting. Yasuo's here on the robe. Now me and Morgana both miss our roots, which is kind of bad because we just wasted 2 pretty important cooldowns. And here we get a really nice catch onto the Caitlyn. I'm not sure why Yasuo didn't ult there, because I thought he got a knockout, I thought he was going to ult, but he didn't. Anyways, regardless, we get the kill. Morgana gets the kill there. Now here's a full-on team fight. We're blinded by Teemo. However, nice knockup by the Yasuo. We're going to focus them down one by one. Shut down onto Pantheon. We actually pick up a triple kill, but we're going to die to Teemo because we stepped on the shroom. So we do end up going down, but off of the triple kill, we are able to pick up the entire Terminus. So we are relatively far ahead in comparison to our team. But in terms of the enemy team, you can see Yone is, of course, giga-fed. Yasuo is now 7 deaths, and Yone has 7 kills. So Yone 2 full items already. And halfway to the third, and of course we are basically on par with like Teemo and Pantheon, because our whole team has kind of been feeding, aside from us, of course. Like we have, I mean, Garen's not exactly been feeding, but Teemo is really like 1k gold up on him, and of course Vi also feeding. She's 0 and 4. Pantheon is like 1.5k gold, actually 2k gold up on her at this point. So it's a really rough game, and at this point I'm analyzing the game. I'm thinking like, wow, this game is going to be really hard to carry, because for me to carry this game, I need the enemy team to focus anybody else other than me. And here I'm trying to get a pick onto Yone. Nearly got it, but of course he does have his ghost to go back to, you know, the body. So I'm not quite able to pick him up. But yeah, like for me to win this game, like I need the enemy team to focus everybody else but me and basically just ignore me so I can free fire on them. But you know, any intelligent enemy team is not gonna do that. So it's kind of a really difficult game when you're the only person doing well on your team and the whole enemy team, their job is basically to focus you, because if they kill me, they basically win the fights, right? And if they win the fights, they basically win the game. So here you can see I'm just standing behind somebody, like in this case it's the Vi. Vi flashes away even though Yone recalled to his ghost, so it's kind of a wasted flash there. It's really rough. So next objective is up, but Vi of course has to go back to base, and she wouldn't even go for objectives anyway because this Vi pretty much ignores objectives. So now we know that Yone is in the bot side jungle there, so we're not going to go anywhere near them. Our whole team is now face checking the bot side jungle, so as a team, we're going to see if we can get a pick onto Yone. Vi spots him out, does get the ult in on him, huge damage comes in, I goes for it to try to land my ulti to make sure he can't escape, but in that eventually it wasn't even needed because my team basically picked up the kill without me and ended up wasting ghost and ulti there, which I didn't really need to. But anyways, we are able to actually pick up the tower off of that, so huge injection of gold for my team with that objective bounty. And now Hugh tries breaking out in the mid lane, so we recall to walk to mid, which I think is the faster way to get to mid compared to, you can see Yasuo and Morgana just walking there through the jungle. I think the faster way is to just recall and walk there. It's also safer because you don't have to walk through the jungle where you don't know if there are going to be enemies there. So we do join back up with our team, but the enemy team kind of disengages the fight, so nothing too much really happening in you know, in this case. And now we're basically kind of just back to farming. Morgana's getting caught, but runs the other direction instead of towards me when she gets ulted by Caitlyn, so I can't block for her because she's running away from me. And I'm definitely not going to flash to block for her since she's already running in the wrong direction. Now the enemy team is actually doing the Baron, and there's two options I can really do here. I can play for a steal with my arrow, or I can let my Vi do it, and they're not even checking for Vi, so I'm thinking Vi probably is going to get the steal. I'm just going to recall, and she can try. So she goes, she's waiting for her opportunity. She goes in at a really good time actually, but miss smites by about 100 HP. Really unfortunately, I really thought she could have gone the steal, to be very honest, but kind of just shows you how you know, not good the Vi is, I guess. Yone tries to do the standing still bait, but obviously I'm not going to fall for it. I'm not going to walk anywhere near him because he's just going to one-shot me instantly. And now the enemy team picks up Baron, and Yone picks up the inhib as well. And now we've lost the Nexus shield as well, because obviously with the first inhib being down, the Nexus shield is now gone, so we're in really big danger of just losing the match at any point here, just because they can easily just run down mid and end the game if we make any kind of macro mistake. So really, pressure is on. We've not quite hit our Riftmaker yet, which is going to be really the main point where we're going to go super strong, because of course we're going to go into AP version of the build, and you know, we're going to start doing a lot of auto attack damage with our Nashor's Tooth. And even, in fact, our Terminus as well. So here, I get caught by Penton. I'm just going to flash away, ghost away. Unfortunately, we have to blow both of our important Summoner Spell cooldowns there, but it's better than just dying to him at this point. So here, Yone and Timo are going in really deep for me, and they do end up getting me because I don't really have anywhere to run, and I don't have my cooldowns anymore. But I am able to pick up my Riftmaker off of that death. So I am now at the power spike. Vi is trying to run down Timo, but gets blinded, gets rooted, and Yone picks up a triple kill, as if it could go any worse at this point, right? So here I'm even thinking that it's possible for them to maybe even force the end at this point, because it's just Morgana and Garen defending, and Garen and Morgana don't have the best wave clear. Morgana doesn't have enough real damage to like wave clear well at this point. But thankfully the enemy team doesn't actually force. I think if they actually 5-man force, we might have actually just lost, because Morgana and Garen might have died, and it could have led to them just ending the game. But thankfully they decide to be a bit more conservative, and they don't hard force the end, which then allows me as well as my teammates to revive. They're still sticking around though, and here I spot the Yone. I'm going to just root him and one-shot him, getting the shutdown as well. I do huge damage on the Seraphine, but I'm going to focus the more important target, which is the Pantheon. And Garen is now running down the Seraphine. Seraphine is running for her life, and no one can really reach her. We see Timo at the back there briefly for a second, so we know Timo is on the flank in the right side jungle, so we don't want to overcommit, or at least not be unaware that she's there. Really nice ulti by Yasuo, but Caitlyn is able to flash out because she does still have flash. I'm not able to finish her off. But my team hardcore committing onto the Caitlyn, who it doesn't run all the way, ends up just dying under tier 2 tower instead of tier 1 tower. My team proxies the wave while I pick up the mid lane inhibitor, which is not mid lane inhibitor, mid lane tier 1 tower. That's very far from inhibitor. And we are able to get the bounty. So now here you can see a huge wave in bot. So this is what I was kind of alluding to earlier, where I'm kind of just on cleanup duty, cleaning up all of these bad wave states, because my team is really just kind of laser focused on kills and just always in the mid lane. And I'm gonna have to just go side lane a lot to just make sure we don't lose to waves. Which of course Yone is starting to play the split push game. You can see I see Yone here. I'm immediately gonna ghost away because I don't know if his flash and ult are up, but if they are, he can easily just flash and ult to close the gap on me, and then he can just run me down, and there's not a lot I can really do about it. So I'm going to play it safe by just popping the ghost and running away. So here you can see my team is fighting over the dragon, and this is going to be dragon soul for enemy teams. So I can see why there's a fight going there. However, again, I have to do the dirty work of preventing Yone from split pushing, because if we all commit onto contesting dragon, Yone is going to get a second in him, and he might even be able to end the game if the enemy team can cancel recall. So again, I'm just sticking around. Again, I was trying to rotate. I see Yone committing to the split push, and I'm going to again commit to stopping him. Now, this time I have backup, so Vi goes in with the ulti, chain CC into my ulti, chain CC into Vi's Q, and he has no chance, he can't even move, and we are able to get the kill. So Garen wisely pings for Baron because 3 members of the enemy team are dead. The 3 most important members in my opinion. And Teemo and Sarah are the only one left alive, so I'm going to quickly hit over him. But you can see Vi has other ideas. She has completely no idea what she's doing and is going for the wave instead for some reason. I'm going to just ward over the check for vision. Pantheon is now up, so he can actually just ult into this pit if he knows we're doing Baron. However, I suspect the enemy team thinks we're doing Dragon. So I think Pantheon probably is going to... Pantheon actually did ult into the Dragon pit. And we actually instead pick up Baron. So here I'm pinging my team to retreat from Dragon because we don't actually need this Dragon. We can give the enemy team Dragon Soul and we can instead just reset and use the Baron buff. We don't want to get into a fight at the Dragon pit and end up just all dying, which is essentially what is looking like might happen here. However, Teemo does end up going down. Pantheon is going back in 1v3, so Pantheon looks like he might be in trouble as well. So here you can see I'm now the one on the split push, which is really strange because Varus is not really a split pusher, but I'm going to back because my team is not creating enough pressure for me to split push. I say that, but a fight breaks out in mid, so actually it was. I probably could have committed to a tier 2 tower, you know, if I was really feeling like it, but I decided to make the safe play of just recalling and not chance getting caught out by Yone on the rotation. So now, just in terms of gold, you can see that I am still pretty fed, but of course not as fed as Yone, who is like completely off the rails in this match. Elder Dragon's coming up in about 10 seconds or so, so we really want to look to fight that. I run into a Teemo Shroom, which is not very ideal. I see Pantheon running straight for me, and I'm just needing to run for the hill so I don't get caught by Pantheon. Pantheon Hex Flash dodges the root from the Morgana, and here I spot an opportunity. I ghost in, ulti onto the Seraphine. It spreads, but unfortunately Pantheon's Edge of Night is able to block it. And here I'm running away from Yone. They're all focusing Morgana, so I'm just focusing them for free in the backline. And here Yone finally kills off Morgana, but he is now full stacks. I'm going to snipe him from a distance, getting the kill there. Pantheon goes in, Yone dies instantly, and then we flash on top of Caitlyn for the pentakill and the game, because with the 40+ second death timers, we can just run down mid with the wave and end the game. So you can see here what I was mentioning earlier is I really just need them to focus anybody but me, and that's what they did. They overcommitted onto my Garen and my Morgana, and they didn't focus me at all, which just allowed me to free fire, and you can see the damage Varus can do when you can free fire. Easy pentakill. And we're able to win the game just off of that. So as usual, I'm going to leave you guys with the stats. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.